Alrighty. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Crypto Mining Morning Show every day, Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Central Time. Today on the agenda, we have an RTX 3050 basically improvement going on. They are changing the actual core they're utilizing with the GPU to reduce the power consumption of it. That's going to be interesting. We also are going to be talking about the Coinbase commercial from the Super Bowl and apparently some outages that caused, along with Bitcoin mining difficulty at an all-time high, while of course the price isn't reflecting that same sentiment. We also have $3.6 billion seizure showing that it's hard to launder money through cryptocurrency. And that's going to be an opinion piece from Ars Technica that I definitely want to get into. And then Intel announces more details on their Bitcoin mining. So all of that together is kind of where we're at. And so we're going to get into it right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you in partnership with GamerSupps. GamerSupps provides a healthy alternative to sugary energy drinks with delicious flavors like Misfits Melon or my favorite Blue Raz. I use the GamerSupps as an alternative to support my active lifestyle outside of content creation. Caffeine-free options are great for late-night gaming after the kids have gone to bed. And my favorite part about GamerSupps is that they accept cryptocurrency. And for a limited time, when you purchase a tub with cryptocurrency, you will receive a Bitcoin shaker. Follow the affiliate link in the description. And don't forget to use code SOAT at checkout. Welcome back. First things first, as always, we like to check for new miner releases for the week. We do have one today. It's from T-Rex Miner, and it's version 0.25.6. So let's hop into this one. Released 1 hour ago on February 14th, 2022. It added ETH and Alphium dual mining support for non-light hash rate GPUs. And then they added an optional lock count column to track the number of times the GPU hit an LHR lock. And then a bug fix, they have a web GUI. Login sessions are preserved between miner restarts if the watchdog is enabled. So let me know, guys, if you do go ahead and test the ETH ALF mining, dual mining on non-light hash rate GPUs. I really haven't even looked into it at all yet at this point. I know I need to, but we've been on the TON train, which is suffering pretty rough difficulty increases as well, unfortunately. So the profitability on TON dual mining has definitely tanked, and the power consumption that is required is making it definitely not near as, as profitable as it initially was, which is kind of common. We expect that, especially whenever I make a video about something, I kind of expect that thing to happen. So unfortunately, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and hop into the details on the RTX 3050 and the 8 gigabytes card with more efficient GA107 GPU to feature a 115 watt TBP. And this is coming from WCCF Tech. All right, so NVIDIA's recently launched GeForce RTX 3050 8GB graphics card will soon come in 2 GPU variants, one featuring a more efficient design. Currently, the NVIDIA RTX 3050 8GB graphics card features the Ampere GA106 GPU core. The GA106 150 SKU features a very cut down variant of the full GA106 chip and packs 2,560 cores and an 8 gigabyte memory running across a 128-bit bus interface. Now, the latest reports from Igor's lab talks about a new variant of the card coming soon that will feature the GA107 GPU, as was rumored back a few months ago. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 graphics card with the GA106 and GA107 GPU configuration will retain the same specifications as the current models, and AIBs will have no trouble migrating to the brand new chip, as both the GA107 and GA106 GPUs are pin compatible, so no new PCBs will be required. However, while the specification remain the same, there's one fundamental change that can be expected in the new model. And it is stated that the GeForce RTX 3050, particularly the 107 variant, will feature a TBP of 115 watts compared to the 130 watts of the GA106 variant. This is possible thanks to a more efficient architecture design of the GA107 GPU, which is mainly aimed at mobility segment and coming to desktop segment soon. So really the big note about this is you're getting 15 watts less or 15 watts more efficient. Still, that light hash rate unlock, we just tested it again this weekend on the latest release from Gminer because they had done a specific unlock for the RTX 3050. And you're really only getting 15 mega hash a second. Even if you get that 15 watt reduction in power consumption, it still doesn't look that great because I believe it's 97 watts right now. And if you took that 15 watts off, you know, you're 82 watts at 15 mega hash a second. I just don't think it's worth it. But hopefully we'll see further and further unlocks. Right now, the highest unlock available for the 3050 is 58%, which is still quite a bit under what we get out of a lot of other GPUs in the light hash rate range. So it can improve. There is potential there. You do have the other algos. We've talked about them in the review video. I don't know. It's not enough to really make up for it. Hopefully, you know, with the reduction of the power consumption, the GA107 is definitely more enticing from a mining perspective than the GA106 because, you know, for the most part, most algorithms don't care that much about core. I do assume there should be probably a performance decrease in core specific algorithms, but that's hard to tell exactly. It doesn't say that there would be, just that the benefit at this point is that they're reducing the amount of, or reducing the amount of power being used, at least right now. That's all we can really confirm. Let's talk about Coinbase forced into outage following Super Bowl ad after more traffic than ever encountered. This is coming from CoinDesk. I tweeted, I thought the Coinbase commercial was terrible, but I think apparently maybe it wasn't what I saw. What I saw wasn't what everybody else saw. I saw the QR code pop up and then I saw it go to the Coinbase screen and you couldn't even read the Coinbase because it was all artifacted in like blue. But maybe that was just my specific setup because apparently some people thought it was cool. I thought it was boring and broken, but it is what it is. Apparently it was enough to also break the app. Coinbase forced into outage. Like we said, Coinbase had to, quote, throttle traffic for a few minutes, end quote, after its advertising debut in Super Bowl. What was it again? 16? No, 56? 16. I don't know how to do this. What is L? Is that 56? I think it's 56. All right. I watched it too. I should have listened. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase was forced into an outage after its ad during Super Bowl 56 between the Los Angeles Rams and Cincinnati Bengals brought about a surge in traffic. The NASDAQ-listed firm's debut in the most expensive commercial airtime slot in the U.S. calendar prompted, quote, more traffic than ever encountered, is what the chief product officer said in a tweet. Coinbase had to throttle traffic for a few minutes, and that was tweeted at 8:17 p.m. According to Down Detector, users had been experiencing problems accessing the exchange since 7:20 p.m. The exchange announced on its main Twitter account that it was back up and running at 8:23 p.m. That's about an hour down, really. If it really started being reported at 7:20, that's pretty bad. With the viewership in the U.S. consistently around the 100 million mark over the last decade or so, Commercial airtime during the NFL's annual championship showpiece is among the most sought after in the world. The price of a 30-second Super Bowl ad slot on NBC was reportedly about $6.5 million, up around $1 million from last year, with some slots costing as much as $7 million. This year, for the first time, Super Bowl viewers were shown ads from a number of crypto companies. Along with Coinbase, crypto exchanges FTX and Crypto.com and eToro all appeared during commercial breaks. FTX's ad featured comedian Larry David, while Crypto.com's starred NBA legend LeBron James. Coinbase spent as much as $14 million on its ad, which featured a QR code bouncing around a black screen for its full 60 seconds. See, okay, I'm not wrong. That's what happened. Viewers who scanned the QR code were taken to Coinbase, where they were invited to sign up and receive $15 in free Bitcoin, which means nothing for us that already have Coinbase because we didn't get anything like that. And apparently a chance to win $3 million in prizes. So there you go. I didn't really like it. I guess it is kind of a weird flex. It's like, we know Super Bowl ads are really expensive. So to flex on everybody, we're going to get 60 seconds instead of the traditional 30 seconds. And then we're just going to throw a QR code up and make it bounce off the corners. So to me, like, it just seems like it was like a weird crypto Coinbase flex of like, we can afford this. This is fine. And I don't know that I really like that very much personally. And I also don't like centralized exchanges anyway, so kind of a moot point. All right. Bitcoin holds above 41K as hash rate surged to all-time high. Once again, coming from CoinDesk and posted today at 12:38 a.m. Bitcoin held above the 41,500 resistance level over the weekend after a slide from the $46,000 level last week. The move came as hash rates for the Bitcoin network hit lifetime highs. Bitcoin has shown strength this month after a slide to yearly lows of 33,000 in January. It broke above the 38,000 and 41,500 resistance levels in the first week of February to monthly highs of 46,000, a level previously seen in the final weeks of 2021. Traders have since taken profits on the move as Bitcoin saw weekly lows of 41,600 in early Asian hours on Monday, but recovered to nearly 42,000 in the after hours. RSI, or Relative Strength Index, levels showed readings of 39 on Monday, suggesting an end to the weekend slide and a continuation of the uptrend to the $48,000 level. RSI is a price chart indicator that calculates the magnitude of price changes. Readings above 70 suggest an asset is overbought and could see a correction, while below 30 implies oversold, wherein assets may recover. The weekend price action came as hash rates surged to all-time highs as per data from analytics tool YCharts. Hash rates are a measure of the computing power required to mine blah, blah, blah. We already know that. So hash rates hit 248 million terahash per second on Saturday, increasing from 180 million terahash level from last week. It currently hovers at 209 million terahash a second, falling 15.51% in the past 24 hours. So it has fallen down. We do have that pulled up here. We were going to take a look at it and see where it's at. 207 exahash a second. See, it's weird when they should just say exahash a second. It makes it easier. But that's not crazy up. I feel like this is a little more clickbaity than essentially, yeah, a little more clickbaity than it needed to be. I mean, if you really look at like the hash rate over the past, what is this, 7 days, It's been above 200 exahash. I mean, when we were checking last week, it was kind of like that for a while. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about an opinion piece today. We have, coming from Ars Technica, $3.6 billion Bitcoin seizure shows how hard it is to launder cryptocurrency. So if you guys aren't aware, there was a hack. There was this couple that basically got the hack, and then they basically essentially got caught. And then this is an opinion piece by Ars Technica, I think originally by Wired.com, that is talking about kind of like how this shows cryptocurrency is actually harder to launder money on, I suppose, than traditional fiat currencies, which is always fun. So, on Tuesday, Liechtenstein and Heather Morgan were arrested in New York. I knew Heather Morgan because she's the one that's getting all memed up. I actually didn't really know I don't know how to pronounce this. I haven't heard it in a video yet. So hopefully I got pretty close. Were arrested in New York and accused of laundering a record $4.5 billion worth of stolen cryptocurrency. In the 24 hours immediately afterwards, the cybersecurity world ruthlessly mocked their operational security screw-ups. Liechtenstein allegedly stored many of the private keys controlling those funds in a cloud storage wallet that made them easy to seize. And Morgan flaunted her self-made wealth in a series of cringe-inducing rap videos on YouTube and Forbes columns. That's pretty epic, though. I mean, those videos were pretty epic. All right. I 100% approve of this type of behavior. But those gaffes have obscured the remarkable number of multi-layered technical measures that prosecutors say the couple did use to try to dead-end the trail for anyone following their money. Even more remarkable, perhaps, is that federal agents led by IRS criminal investigations managed to defeat those alleged attempts at financial anonymity on the way to recouping $3.6 billion of stolen cryptocurrency. In doing so, they demonstrated just how advanced cryptocurrency tracing has become, potentially even for coins once believed to be practically untraceable. Okay, that's interesting. Let's get into this more then. What was amazing about this case is the laundry list of obfuscation techniques Liechtenstein and Morgan allegedly used, says Ari Redboard, the head of legal and government affairs for TRM Labs, a cryptocurrency tracing and forensics firm. Redboard points to the couple's alleged use of chain hopping, transferring funds from one cryptocurrency to another to make them more difficult to follow, including exchanging bitcoins for privacy coins like Monero and Dash, both designed to foil blockchain analysis. Court documents say the couple also allegedly moved their money through the Alpha Bay dark web market, the biggest of its kind at the time, in attempts to stymie detectives. Yet investigators seem to have found paths through all of those obstacles. If they really were, I mean, obviously, like, some of the concerns here is like, which I think we pretty much knew, is your privacy's gone. Your privacy's gone, your security's gone. Like, Monero's not working for it, Dash is not working for it, right? And clearly, every time we get into this, it's like, well, crimes are being committed, therefore we need to basically invade your privacy. And this just is a never-ending story of disappointment. But let's keep going. Yet, investigators seem to have found the path through all those obstacles we got through there. In a 20-page statement of facts published alongside the Justice Department's criminal complaint against Liechtenstein and Stein, who knows, and Morgan on Tuesday, IRS-CI detailed the winding and tangled routes the couple allegedly took to launder a portion of the nearly 120,000 Bitcoin stolen from the cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex in 2016. Most of those coins were moved from Bitfinex's addresses on the Bitcoin blockchain to a wallet the IRS labeled 1CGA4S, allegedly controlled by Liechtenstein. Federal investigators eventually found keys for that wallet in one of Liechtenstein's cloud storage accounts, along with logins for numerous cryptocurrency exchanges he had used. But to get to the point of identifying Liechtenstein along with his wife Morgan and locating that cloud account, IRSCI followed two branching paths taken by 25,000 Bitcoins that moved from the 1CGA4S wallet across Bitcoin's blockchain. One of the branches went into a collection of wallets hosted on Alphabet's dark web market, designed to be impenetrable to law enforcement investigators. The other appears to have been converted into Monero, a cryptocurrency designed to obfuscate the trails of funds within its blockchain by mixing up the payments of multiple Monero users, both real transactions and artificially generated ones, and concealing their value. Yet somehow the IRS says it identified Liechtenstein and Morgan by tracing both those branches of funds to a collection of cryptocurrency exchange accounts in their names, as well as in the names of three companies they owned, known as Demand Path, Endpass, and Salesfolk. So if this second branch is true, going through Monero, it's clear that they can track Monero at this point, which is kind of like the big deal, in my opinion, that I'm getting from this here. Liechtenstein and Morgan appear to have intended to use Alphabet as a mixer or tumbler, a cryptocurrency service that takes in a user's coins and returns different ones to prevent blockchain tracing. Alphabet advertised in April 2016 that it offered that feature to its users by default. Alphabet can now safely be used as a coin tumbler, read a post from one of its administrators. Making a deposit and then withdrawing after is now a way to tumble your coins and break the link to the source of your funds. In July 2017, however, 6 months after the IRS says Liechtenstein moved a portion of Bitphoenix coins into Alphabet wallets, the FBI, DEA, and Thai police arrested Alphabet's administrator and seized its server in a data center in Lithuania. That server seizure isn't mentioned in the IRS's statement of facts, but the data on that server likely would have allowed investigators to reconstruct the movement of funds through Alphabet's wallets and identify Liechtenstein's withdrawals to pick up their trail again, says Tom Robinson, a co-founder of the cryptocurrency tracing firm Elliptic. The data that investigators appear to have got from Alphabet is the key to all of this, says Robinson. According to the IRS, those Alphabet withdrawals were ultimately traced through numerous movements around the blockchain to a collection of cryptocurrency exchange accounts, some of which Liechtenstein and Morgan controlled. IRS investigators say that the other branch of funds from Liechtenstein's 1CGA4S wallet was laundered through, we should just call it the parent wallet, but that's fine. It was laundered through chain hopping, but then only partially describe how that obfuscation worked, not to mention how the IRS defeated it. Of course, they aren't going to tell us how. One chart in the IRS's statement of facts shows a collection of Bitcoins moving from the parent wallet into two accounts on an unnamed cryptocurrency exchange. Yet those two accounts, registered with Russian names and email addresses, were funded entirely with Monero rather than Bitcoin, the IRS says. Both accounts were eventually frozen after the exchange demanded more identifying information from the account holders, and they failed to provide it. That's KYC. Well, by that time, much of the Monero had been converted into Bitcoin and withdrawn. The IRS explanation doesn't mention at what point the money in Liechtenstein's Bitcoin wallet was converted into the Monero that later appeared in those two exchanges, nor, more importantly, does it say how investigators continued to follow the cryptocurrency despite Monero's features designed to thwart that tracing, a feat of crypto tracing that has never been before documented in a criminal case. Yeah, and that's if they, so here the problem is if they do know how to do this at this point, they're not going to tell anybody. They don't want anybody to know. But if they're drawing a correlation between, where it hopped to and then where it ended up as Monero, and they're confident in the fact that they trace the proper account, then it does, to me, seem like Monero's been cracked as far as this cookie goes for security and privacy. And that's concerning from a cryptocurrency perspective. It is possible that the IRS investigators didn't actually trace Monero to draw that link, points out Matt Green, a cryptographer at Johns Hopkins University and one of the co-creators of the privacy-focused cryptocurrency Zcash. They may have found other evidence of the connection in one of the defendant's records, just as they found other incriminating files in Liechtenstein's cloud storage. Now, that is a good point. Okay. So what could have happened is that cloud account, I guess, could have had maybe login or keys or something for the exchange that Monero sat on, and that's how they drew the correlation between the two. I mean, I guess that's pretty obvious at this point that could be it. So, or they could simply be making an assumption unsupported by evidence, though that's not a common practice for federal agencies prosecuting a high-profile criminal case years in the making. The third possibility, which I would definitely not rule out, is that they have some tracing capabilities that they're not disclosing in this complaint, says Green. And that's the part I'm worried about. And I think that they may have that at some point, right? The cryptocurrency tracing firm Chainalysis, which counts the IRS as a customer, has privately touted its own secret methods to trace Monero. Last year, hackers leaked a presentation to Italian police in which Chainalysis claimed it could provide a usable lead in 65% of Monero tracing cases. In another 20% of cases, it could determine a transaction sender, but not its recipient. In many cases, the results can be proven far beyond a reasonable doubt. The leaked presentation read in Italian, though it cautioned that the analysis of a statistical nature, and as such, any result has a confidence level associated with it. So there you go. That's Chainalysis, but I think we already read about Chainalysis saying, I can't remember when that happened. That happened last year, right? I think it was last year. Anyways, if these analysis firms aren't working on anonymity enhanced coins, then they're not doing their jobs, Green says. And he says, I think we should assume that they are looking at these systems and they're probably having some success. The unspoken message to Liechtensteins and Morgans of the world: even if your rap videos and sloppy cloud storage accounts don't get you caught, your clever laundering tricks may still not save you from the ever-evolving sophistication of law enforcement crypto tracers. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Moral of the story: don't steal crypto from a KYC exchange, because that's crazy. I don't think this was a KYC exchange, but you know what I mean at the time. Whatever. They did use something with KYC that probably was linked to that cloud account in some way, I assume. But it does look like, of course, there are Chainalysis saying that there's a couple different companies working on cracking and tracking and tracing privacy coins. So there's that. We have one more article for today. Intel announces Bitcoin mining initiative. Bonanza mine chips and ships this year. Let's get into it. It's coming from Tom's Hardware. Intel has officially entered the crypto mining business. Intel's Raja Kaduri penned a blog post that officially announces the company's plans to enter the crypto mining blockchain market with a roadmap of specialized energy efficient accelerators. Intel will begin delivering the new chips comprised of the Bonanza mine ASICs that we recently unearthed this year to several large customers as it enters the Bitcoin mining market that it expects to grow by 2.8 billion from 2021 to 2025. Intel's first Customers include Block, formerly known as Square, and held by CEO Jack Dorsey of Twitter fame. Now, this one's interesting because, remember, I thought we were going to be seeing ASIC miners from Block themselves as well. That doesn't, I'm wondering if that means this isn't the case anymore. It seems like Jack Dorsey's just going to be working off of Intel's miners for Block, but I could be wrong. There was, initial rumors that Block itself was working on ASIC miners themselves. Argo blockchain and grid infrastructure are the other ones. We'll provide a bit more detail on those relationships below. Intel has announced that it had created a new custom compute group folded under Gettr Accelerated Computing and Graphics AXG business unit to design and build its blockchain hardware. The group will also build other unspecified custom accelerated supercomputing hardware based on Intel's existing IP blocks. It's unclear if these products could address other types of cryptocurrency mining, or if the unit will also serve as an adjunct to Intel Foundry Services, IFS. Intel shared an image of its new blockchain accelerator, but Getr's missive is light on technical details. However, we already know quite a bit about the company's upcoming Bitcoin mining hardware. We first discovered Intel's Bonanza Mine chips in a listing for a presentation at the upcoming ISSCC conference, but the company has already moved on to its second-gen Bonanza Mine ASIC, known as BMZ2. This chip has specialized architecture designed specifically to accelerate SHA-256 processing for Bitcoin mining at ultra-low voltage. We talked about this a few weeks ago. These energy-efficient chips produce what Intel characterizes as over 1,000 times better performance per watt than mainstream GPUs for SHA-256 based mining. Well, yeah, I would hope so. But how does it compare to current ASIC miners, right? However, GPUs aren't, so they say that here. Instead, Bitcoin is used with ASICs, blah, blah, blah. Intel's Bonanza Mine will compete with other ASIC-based devices from companies like Bitmain and MicroBT. These companies suffer from long lead times and charge prohibitively high pricing, often based on Bitcoin's valuation for their chips. They also have to rely on third-party design houses and foundries for manufacturing. Foundries like TSMC don't tend to give these companies preferential status in their fabs due to the uncertainty of the demand and sporadic nature of crypto mining. Instead, they prioritize longer-term steady business from bigger chip designers. Intel has tremendous production capacity of its own, but it isn't clear if it will fab the BMZ2 ASICs in its own internal fabs or outsource production to TSMC. It does say that I got a little frog in my throat. Hold on, guys. Long show. Whoo. All right. Too much food yesterday. Too much dairy food, like the dips and stuff. No good. All right, so it does say the BMZ2 is rumored to use TSMC's 5 nanometer manufacturing process. However, Intel has traditionally outsourced roughly 25% of its silicon production and will drastically increase that amount over the next few years as it moves its GPU and some CPU production to TSMC, meaning it has more purchasing power than competing mining hardware firms. Additionally, Intel has tight control over its supply chain and has its own production, including packaging and test OSAT capacity, a critical step in the manufacturing process that has proven to be one of the major contributors behind the ongoing semiconductor shortages. Intel says that its mining hardware consists of tiny pieces of silicon. The first-gen BMZ1 chip measures a mere 14.2 millimeters squared, so this new foray shouldn't impact its supply of current products. However, much like you can see in the image, half of Bitmain's S19 hashboard above, mining ASICs are deployed in mass. So we expect Intel's solution will have a similar arrangement. So it will consume a non-trivial amount of silicon in aggregate. However, the smaller die size boosts yields up and maximizes wafer area usage up to 4,000 die per wafer, thus helping maximize production capacity. So here's the big ones that I kind of was curious on, which was the first customers. Like I said, the first one here, Block, is interesting because I thought Block themselves were working on their own ASIC. I wonder if there's kind of like kind of tells me that that's probably not the case anymore. Intel has announced 3 of its first customers: Block, formerly known as Square, Ergo Blockchain, and Grid Infrastructure. But it's possible that the company has other large customers that wish to remain unnamed. The Bitcoin mining industry has been plagued by hardware shortages and excessive pricing for the last few years. Considering that analysts predict 1.5 to 2 million Bitcoin miners will ship this year, that will likely continue. As such, Intel could prove to be a disruptive force in the market segment given its scale, more predictable pricing, and likely more predictable supply. We can see some of these aspects come into play with Intel's deal with its first publicly known customer, Grid Computing, which will soon go public at an estimated $3.3 billion valuation. Intel has guaranteed Grid that it will sell it a minimum of 25% of its overall mining ASIC supply through 2025 at fixed pricing until 2023. And this is where it's getting, for me, as like a home miner, especially as a GPU miner, starting out very small and then building up and, you know, taking this process, making this YouTube channel, becoming, you know, somewhat financially independent as far as not having to have a job or a day job. When I see stuff like this, I see like a removal of the opportunity for the general public. When you see 25% of all the production being guaranteed to go to a large $3.3 billion business, and the fact that like the point of cryptocurrency is to distribute that hardware out to more people, like this kind of stuff is just super disappointing to me, because I also want to see other people be able to do what I did and start off small with the GPUs and build up and build out their farm. But at this point, it's such large business that that doesn't seem, at least from the Bitcoin mining perspective, that doesn't even seem viable. And even at my position where I'm at now, I don't see how I could ever compete with something like Grid. Or even survive with them on the market at all, right? Like, how am I supposed to obtain these competitive miners? So it's kind of hard. They do say this is a far more desirable than fluctuating price from competing firms like Bitcoin that assign pricing based on Bitcoin valuation, which is true. Like, at least there's an improvement there where the miners are at a fixed price. It's still super disappointing though, because like the general consumer is probably not going to get any of these. Grid supply agreement with Intel has plenty of redactions to protect sensitive information, but it also heavily references Intel's reference design materials, which are a series of documents that customers use as guidance when they integrate the Bonanza mine chips into their own custom systems. This implies that Intel will supply the silicon to some of its customers who will then create their own systems. This makes a little bit more sense, because if Jack Dorsey's block was talking about creating Bitcoin miners, they may just, what it sounds like is they're going to be using the silicon right from Intel to then build their own custom miners. So it says this also meshes well with Jack Dorsey's plans for Block, which he says will create a Bitcoin mining system based on custom silicon and open source for individuals and businesses worldwide. All right, so what may happen here in some cases is like Block will essentially get the silicon from Intel and they'll act as like a third-party board manufacturer, not dissimilar from the GPU market where you have NVIDIA, but then you also have like ASUS making NVIDIA GPUs. And that could actually help with individual sourcing if Block decides to sell to individuals, and that would be kind of cool. So Intel could also manufacture complete mining systems and bring them to market through partners, but we'll have to wait to learn more details about its go-to-market strategy. Intel's listing for the upcoming ISSCC conference notes that Bitcoin mining is currently estimated to consume 91 terawatts an hour of power annually, which is greater than the country of Finland, but points out that customized accelerators can optimize energy efficiency. Kaduri acknowledges that blockchain requires tremendous amounts of energy, but says that Intel aims to provide a scalable and energy efficient solutions to promote an open and secure blockchain ecosystem and advance this technology in a responsible and sustainable way. It's going to be the natural, we talk about this every time, when it comes to the arguments of power and cryptocurrency mining, because the nature of cryptocurrency mining is to reduce the amount of power you use across the board and reduce the cost of your power. It naturally incentivizes people to move to sustainable energy and, of course, low power miners, which Intel is working on, right? So this is all like overall a net positive for the technology in general. Intel's publicly acknowledged customers all say they focus on sustainable energy sources. Notably, Grid claims that approximately 74% of its power consumption is carbon-free, with the goal of being 90% carbon-free by the end of 2023, all without carbon offsets or credits. Grid hasn't released firm projections of the number of machines it plans to deploy, but it intends to operate 3 industrial-scale facilities totaling 734 megawatts of power by 2023. The publicly traded Ergo blockchain, which recently purchased 20,000 Bitmain Antminer machines for its West Texas data center, says it's climate positive and focuses on hydropower for most of its facilities, though it will use a combination of wind and solar for its Texas plants. Finally, Block, formerly known as Square, also has a heavy focus on renewable energy sources. The company recently partnered with Blockstream Mining to build an open-source solar-powered Bitcoin mining farm in the United States. Intel's Bonanza mining chips could give it a solid beachhead in, weird terms, in the lucrative Bitcoin mining market, where its new competitors like Bitmain and MicroBT have long dominated. Intel will also not limit the mining performance of its standard Alchemist GPUs that will come to market soon, allowing it to compete with its old rivals AMD and Nvidia in other types of cryptocurrency mining like Ethereum. This provides Intel with a dual-pronged strategy of ASICs and GPUs, and I'm starting to get a feeling like when I looked at the Intel Arc GPUs at first, I was like, okay, they're kind of in a weird spot. But they do have, like, for the amount of power they use, which is like nearly nothing, they do have a pretty big memory bus. And I'm wondering if these are going to be like extremely, like, I'm not thinking like super high hash rate, but I'm thinking like extremely efficient. I'm thinking like 15 mega hash a second at like 25 watts kind of efficient. And that's what I'm wondering with these Alchemist GPUs. Once again, that's just all speculation. But I was thinking about that when I was reading over the specifications the last time we did it on the channel. So plugging those products into Intel's global production and supply chains could help with the company to grow quickly and sidestep some of the production shortfalls we've seen with other mining hardware providers. Intel will present its first-gen Bonanza mine chips at an industry event later this month, and it claimed 137 gigahash a second performance and 18.2 watts per terahash efficiency rivals the best mining ASICs on the market. That sets a promising tone for the company's second-gen Bonanza mine chips. However, there are still plenty of unknowns about the technical details, like performance, efficiency, pricing, power consumption, the process node, foundry used, and so on. We also don't know the company's plans for its future roadmap. So that's pretty much it as far as all that goes. So what we know so far is Intel doesn't appear to be selling to anyone public. 25% of its production goes straight to Grid. Grid will not be selling to consumers. Block maybe, but they don't have a certain amount. So at least 25% of these miners, these ASIC miners from Intel are sold, right? Then you got like the rest of the 75%, but they have so many other partnerships going on here. I don't think that Intel's going to bring it to retail market. I think that Block will, but I don't think that I think that not Block will for sure, but I think that Block has the potential to. It sounds like they're buying custom silicon to build their own miners. That's what it sounds like to me. Let's go ahead and get into mining profitability. It's not great. We're definitely down from last week and let's see. So we're at 214 for the day. Ethereum is at 0.0726, down from 0.08 and down, you know, I mean, compared to the average of last week, which is around 220 a day, I guess we're not down that bad. But, you know, I think near the end of the week, we're at 260, something along those lines. That isn't all, though. We are back onto dual mining TON coin. We'll refresh it here. And so that's getting us, we're netting 3.4 TON a day, which is not very good. When this first started, okay. When we first did the video of like increased mining profits by like 50%, the farm was doing 37 TON a day before I made the video. 37 TON a day. That was like $90 more, you know, once converted and everything than what I was just getting by mining Ethereum alone. It's pretty clear to me at this point that mining TON's not worth it anymore. So, if you look at this, you know, 3.4 TON a day on a, you know, on a 5 gigahash farm is like literally just like $9 a day more or something. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. So I'll probably be pulling them off so I can get my power consumption back down below 20 kilowatts. Unfortunately, at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to be worth it to dual mine TON to me. But let me know what you guys find. Let's take a look at mining profitability, calculating out the RTX 3090. Let's go ahead and fix the Zel hash number. We have Ethereum at $3.86 a day after power and Flux at $2.73 a day after power. ETH hash still holding strong, $2.19 a day after power. You got Conflux at $2.03, Cortex at $2.02. Let's go ahead and look at the 2080 Ti's, which have traditionally been more profitable on Flux. It is more well, it's actually dead even on Flux as it is on Ethereum. $1.81 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt hour on Flux, and $1.81 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt hour on Ethereum. So that's looking pretty good for the 2080 Ti. If we take a look at the players' GPUs, 93 cents a day on Ethereum after power, and then Ethereum Classic is kind of the savior that they're hoping for at 48 cents a day after power. Let's take a look at mining pool profits for the day. For the last 90 days, Flex Pool in first, Crazy Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 60 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 30 days, Flex Pool in first, Crazy Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 21 days, Flex Pool in first, Crazy Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 14 days, ZET in first, Flex Pool in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 7 days, you have ZET in first, Flex Pool in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 3 days, ZET in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. And for the last day, Mining Pool Hub in first, Ethermine in second, and 2 miners in third. Let's go ahead and get our miner stats up for ASICs. Gold Shell KD6 still in first, profitability down over $50 a day compared to last week on Friday. KD5 profitability down. Antminer L7 profitability down. Pretty much all of them are down. Let's take a look at the S19 profitability. S19 Pro is actually, I guess, technically up a little bit. So really, like, what we're seeing in the proof of work space is just all the way up and downs of all the altcoins, and then Bitcoin from the ASIC perspective seems to be remaining pretty steady around that $15 to $20 range in profitability on the ASIC miners, and then Ethereum right around, you know, for us on a farm, $200 a day. It's not great, you know, around $4 a day for the 3090. So it's kind of where we're at, but it is what it is. Let's get into questions and answers, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. We got about 10 minutes. Andrea says you're getting low pay rate on ice mining. You should get at least 5 times more ton. Your pay rate is 0.1 ton per gigahash. So what's it showing total? Yeah, so total hash rate for me is showing what? Between 100 and 120 gigahash a second, somewhere around there. Says the 24-hour average is 119 gigahash a second at this time. So there you go. All right, I'm going to answer some questions. Super chats, always appreciated, never required, easiest to read. That's why we read them first. At Son of a Tech, making the name orange makes it easier to read. And so I answer those next. Alrighty, so first things first. I'm looking for questions. Dennis Matovich says, have you tried use pro hashing? No, I haven't. Blueberry XD says, at Son of a Tech, I'm making 1.5 ton on pool with 6 gigahash. Yeah, I mean, I'm showing, well, I don't know, guys. It's showing 24-hour earned. You saw it. I can show you again. Now, what's weird, well, I have to go back and see how long we've been on. Been on a couple days. Our payouts are total paid is 12 ton, and that was paid on the 6 on the 13th and 6 on the 14th. So actually getting paid out 6 a day until today. It went down to 3 a day. Please don't spam the chat. It makes it really hard for everybody to read. And that's not how to get a question answered. All right. Ahmed Ali said, as Son of a Tech, it's sad that we are home. Small miners, we're finding it harder and harder to grow on a daily basis, while the big companies are just buying the goodies with a discount. Yeah, and I mean, that's, like I said, that's part of the problem with a lot of this in general. And then you see, you know, like the new Best Buy program where you have to pay $199 to be a member, to essentially be able to purchase GPUs through their website. And it's like, okay, well, that's what that lends itself to is like, first of all the scalpers, because of course the scalpers are going to not worry about a $200 membership on GPUs that they're buying to resell you at for double the price. But that also lends itself to larger mining farms that can afford that kind of cost sink, right? So everything's moving in that format to push the little guy out. And it does concern me with cryptocurrency. I know that you want to keep it GPU, ideally, if you want to have the most distributed networks. Clearly, ASICs aren't going to work for that unless something does change and it's like Jack Dorsey's really working on a mesh network of Bitcoin miners where he basically sells them really cheaply, like one per household to everybody, to really distribute the network. Maybe that is what he's thinking. Maybe it's not. I would hope that someone like him would be like the guy that would be like, okay, I want to distribute the network as much as possible. What's the best way to do that? Build, a 120 volt capable low power Bitcoin miner, get it in the hands of everybody in the US and fully distribute the network, right? I just don't know that anybody, like, if that's really how they think. To me, they probably think build big numbers, sell big numbers to big companies, end of story. All right. Jacob Twitchell says, that son of a tech Bitmain tweeted out they are releasing a batch of the Z15 for retail investors tonight at 8 Eastern through 17th. Old price was 4K. I wonder what they'll be going to sell them for. Z15s. There it is. $20 a day. Such a weird one to hear about. Should be curious. Thanks for the heads up. Andre Mora says, that's son of a tech. Which do you think is the best miner to ETH between LOL and Gminer? It depends on the GPU you have. Like if you have an RTX 3050, Gminer's better right now. I just know that because I just did the testing. It's going to depend on that. I think like overall, like LOL miner just makes it easy because it supports so many different things, so many different cards. Light hash rate. It has light hash rate unlock if you need that. It supports a ton of different algorithms. So LOL miner is like kind of my go-to most of the time, but I'm always trying to optimize by using specific miners that work better on specific cards, right? And that's kind of the goal. ACQ said, who do you think will win the Super Bowl? That already happened yesterday, bro. Andrea says, try to come to the ICE mining Discord and speak with Greg. He's going to help you. Okay. I'm going to talk to him about what's going on, I guess. Lobo Nova says, not a crypto question. What beer do I drink? I don't really drink beer much. I did drink a beer, a Shiner yesterday. I typically drink scotch, if anything. And then I drank for the Super Bowl, but I don't feel good today. And I didn't even drink that much. I had two or three drinks. But I'd rather be I'd rather be in better shape and ready to go work out today. But it's not going to be fun to work out today now. PC Space Race says, ask Tech restart your miner. Mine will say it's mining in HiveOS and the pool says 0. Hash rate, you restart every 12 hours. I don't know what you're referencing, but like, we're clearly on the pool. If you're talking about this for ice mining, we're clearly at 120 gigahash a second. Arvind, I will answer your question, but you gotta stop using like caps and like being spamming chat. But I think you got that. As far as your question about 30, when you'll get a 3060 Lite hash rate fully unlocked, I don't know. How would I know that? I work with the same information that everybody else does. I just try to report it when it comes out. So, I mean, like, as far as that question goes, it's a little silly because, like, once it comes out, we'll talk about, if it ever did, we'd talk about it on the channel. I highly doubt that we'll get full unlocks, but it is what it is. SV Tech says, have you read the recent tweet from CoinMarketCap? It's about NFTs. No, I haven't. We'll check it out if I can. And then I think we'll call it for today. CoinMarketCap. Are you talking about UK tax officials have seized non-fungible tokens? All right, let's get into it. Market Musings. UK seizes NFT in investigation over tax fraud. UK tax officials have seized non-fungible tokens for the very first time and fear digital collectibles have given criminals a new way to launder and hide money. According to the Daily Telegraph, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs has taken control of 3 NFTs amid allegations there was an attempt to defraud the taxman out of 1.4 million euro. 3 arrests have been made, and it's claimed the suspects had used sophisticated methods to hide themselves, utilizing stolen identities, prepaid cell phones, and false addresses. Officials say the seizures should serve as a warning to anyone who thinks they can use crypto assets to hide money. HMRC's Deputy Director for Economic Crime told the newspaper, quote, we constantly adapt to new technology to ensure that we keep pace with how criminals and evaders look to conceal their assets, end quote. Experts have warned that HMRC is determined to clamp down on tax evasion in a bid to narrow the gap between the revenues it receives and the revenues it owes. The UK has joined other countries in introducing tighter regulations on cryptocurrencies and NFTs, with profits from sale of digital assets subject to capital gains tax. HMRC has also begun requesting information from exchanges on customers who have high transaction volumes. NFTs and money laundering. NFTs have been known to sell for many millions of dollars. Just last week, 2 people were arrested in the U.S. on suspicion of conspiracy to launder cryptocurrency linked to the Bitfinex attack. According to prosecutors, Ia Dutch Liechtenstein and Heather Morgan struggled to use fake identities to open accounts on a number of crypto exchanges. So we already talked about all this today. It's also believed that they had purchased a number of NFTs. I mean, I think we're just going to be seeing a lot of this kind of stuff happen. And then I think that eventually, I mean, this gets really weird really quick, doesn't it? It's kind of exciting, but it gets really weird really quick. All right. I'm going to call it for today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I will check my config. Thanks for the tips on the ice mining, Andreas. That's kind of weird that it would do that. So you have to have a separate light sheet for every single rig to put in a separate worker name. That sucks. Doesn't really make sense either, but I'll give it a shot. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe, notification bell to be notified. We'll be live tomorrow morning, 9:45 Central Time. More videos to come tonight, 2 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and then tomorrow, the live